Your choice of tripod is a critical decision if you're a landscape photographer, especially if you shoot in low light or you like those creative long exposures. We all know that if you buy cheap, you're almost certainly going to buy twice. But does that mean you have to spend $800, $1,000, or even more on a tripod? No. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining. High-end tripods from the well-known brands are a big investment for anybody, and most people would prefer to spend that hard-earned cash on upgrading their camera body or buying that new lens they've had their eye on for some time, or, as in my case, spending that money on a dream location and taking your camera away with you for a week to shoot in a brand new environment. We all know that if you don't invest enough in a tripod, then it's probably going to let you down. But where's the balance? Now, I spoke in a previous video about the law of diminishing returns, that inalienable truth that every pound you spend, you get less back for that money. Every dollar you invest, the return in value or specification or quality just diminishes for each and every one that you spend. So it's all about finding that sweet spot on the curve. Now, some of us have limited choice. Most of our money is spent on mortgages or bonds or children's education or putting food on the table, in which case we're restricted to the lower end of the spectrum, the entry-level models. If you've got a little bit more flexibility than that, then it's all about finding the right balance. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through my choice of tripod and why I think it's the perfect balance between that stable, strong tripod that I need and the money that I'd rather keep in my bank. The tripod that I've chosen is the Artcise AS90C. I would love to be in the meetings where they decide the names of their products. At first glance, the AS90C is a bit of a beast and it is a big tripod. Now, don't be put off too much. Because it's carbon fiber, the weight is not quite what you might expect, and we'll get to the specs later on. I wouldn't say that this is the kind of tripod that you're just going to throw in your pack for a casual weekend away where photography isn't your main priority. But other than that, it's a pretty good all-round tripod. And if you're not hiking 20 kilometers in a day, then it would be good for all of your landscape needs. And it's certainly great for in-studio work and architectural photography. A couple of things before we jump outside and I show you the tripod in all of its glory. Firstly, you'll notice in the footage that's to follow that I have removed the cargo net. And now that's not because I don't like the cargo net. I love the cargo net. I'm super forgetful. I'm always putting things down, losing them, leaving them behind. So having this feature just to throw things in just makes my life a lot more simple. But when I go through the detail of the tripod, I wanted to show you all of the leg configurations, and it just made life easier to remove the net. Secondly, you'll notice there is no center column. So if you do purchase this tripod, then as standard, you don't get a center column. Now, don't worry about the height. There's plenty of reach, and I'll show you that in just a moment. If you are a giant or you have some specialist needs, that means you need more reach, then you can order the center column separately. But just to make you aware, it doesn't come as standard. In terms of the specs, I'll list a few of them as we're talking through the tripod, but don't worry, I'll also put something up at the end of the video which details all of the specs of the tripod, so you have everything in one place if you need it. Okay, let's get outside and have a proper look. So here it is, the Artcise AS90C. Perched proudly on the top is the BallHead from the same manufacturer, the KB55, which I did review a few weeks ago. I'll drop a link above and also in the description below. But for today, we're focused on the tripod itself. So the most important component of a tripod, of course, are the three legs. Other than that, it's really just a base plate. We'll get to that. Let's start with the legs. So the legs are a 4-section leg, and as you can see at the top, it has a foam insulator, which you'll be super happy with on those cold winter mornings. The first section is a 40mm diameter leg section, really chunky. Then you have super chunky twist lock mechanisms. As you can see, relative to the size of my hand, that's a really chunky twist lock. And it's a quarter turn, third of a turn, and then super loose opening, super loose closing. The second section is a 36mm diameter leg. And the third section is 32.5mm. And then the final section, you'll see why I'm struggling when we talk about the height of this tripod. Final section is 29mm. So even at the bottom end of the tripod, you've got 29mm stability there. The legs are made from 10-layer carbon fiber, which gives them super strength without that additional weight. You probably wouldn't want to take it as a throw it in the backpack travel tripod for a normal trip. But for everyday landscape photography, for short to medium type hikes, and certainly for any in-studio work, this tripod is fantastic. Really nice balance between chunky, stable, rigid, and weight. The tripod arrives with these large, robust rubber feet. Now, according to the marketing collateral, these are designed so that whichever angle your legs are at, when I say your legs, I mean your tripod legs. Whichever angle your tripod legs are angled at, there is maximum connection with the tripod foot. Now, I don't know the extent to which that's marketing or reality, but they're pretty large, solid rubber feet. Having said that, I always replace my tripod feet with these, what I call steel stilettos. And you can see in this case, they have a hole at the base. What that means is that when you're screwing those in, to make sure that those don't become loose, which I struggle with quite a lot, simple Allen key, and you can very simply tighten those up. At the top of the leg are these clips, and it's these clips that allow you to adjust the angle of the legs into 3 positions. Obviously you have the standard position, and then if you release that clip, then you can move it into the secondary position, and then if you release the clip a little further, then you can move it into the final position. I'll show you how the tripod looks in all 3 of those positions in just a moment. Now, this clip is a little stiff for my liking. I have to say, I wouldn't be overly confident if I suffered from arthritis. You only tend to use these, or certainly I only tend to use these and change the angle of the legs 2 or 3 times in any day of shooting, but nonetheless they are a little bit stiff, so it's worth bearing that in mind. At the top of the head, once you release the ball head, you have a very wide base plate. Size-wise, the diameter of that base plate is just shy of 100 mils, about 95 millimeters. In inches, 3 3/4 inches, roughly speaking. As you can see, it has the bubble level, as I call it, and then on this side you have a screw thread. I've put in an adapter there to change it from a 5/8 to a 1/4 inch screw, but that adapter is for any accessories that you want to attach to your tripod. It just makes it super convenient. So to release the base plate, there are two elements. Firstly, this lever, and that allows the base plate to spin. And I quite like the fact that there is a built-in safety mechanism there that won't release unless you depress this button at the bottom here, and then the base plate just pops out. From there you can insert the bowl, clip that into place, rotate the lever to make sure that's in nice and firm, and then you can attach the ball component. Now, I genuinely don't remember if I ordered this extra bowl as an optional extra or whether it just came included, or it might have been just that's where I bought it from and it was part of a package. So I can't guarantee that you'll get the ball if you just order the tripod as standard, so definitely worth checking that out before you place an order. Personally, I absolutely prefer the control that you have with this than with a standard leveling base, which I've been using historically, such as this one from Leo Photo. Just much easier to use, much quicker to use, and in my belief, much more control. So I've mounted my trusty Nikon D850 to show you the tripod at all of its different configurations. As you can see, I'm no strapping 6'3", 5'8", but there's plenty of height here without a centre column. For me, the length of the legs, the real benefit is not in this height that you can get, which you will benefit from occasionally for a specific composition, but it's more about the length of the legs and helping you to get super stable when you're in uneven terrain, especially on a really steep slope. So there we have it. The beautifully named Artcise AS90C. It's definitely the right choice of tripod for my needs, primarily landscape photography. Don't walk 30 kilometers in a day when I'm out shooting, and it gives me great strength, super rigidity, all the height that I need, and the leg configurations I need for different types of terrain, uneven ground, etc. All of that, and I think the price point is pretty damned reasonable. I hope you found this video interesting, ideally useful, especially if you're currently thinking about getting a new tripod for your own bag. Either way, please Let me know your thoughts. Drop me a note in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and I do my best to respond to as many as I can. I hope to see you soon. Please, take care. Bye-bye.